Hello, Lego fans, and welcome into a brand new episode of the Brick Hour Podcast. I'm your host, JJ, otherwise known as Langster Builds on Instagram. With me, as always, my wonderful co-host in a different setup this time, Cam, otherwise known as Cameron Studios.
Everybody. So today's a different episode, clearly because of the different backdrop. We're going to be discussing BrickHeadz and why we think it's one of the most underrated themes within Lego. We didn't want to do it by ourselves, so we have our special guest, Brick Clicker. If you don't know him, he is probably one of the more famous for leaks and stuff. So, Brick Clicker, why don't you just kind of let everybody know who you are if they don't know you?
Yeah, so hello to everyone listening. Thank you for having me on. For the past few years, really, I do like on news content, and then I'm also a massive BrickHeadz fan. So I was the perfect person to talk about BrickHeadz, really.
I gotta tell you, it's weird. It's so cool having you on because like I'm so used to seeing your videos and just hearing you like talking about the set. So it's really cool just to have you here. But
Yeah.
thanks for coming on. And before we get into our discussion, JJ, what are we building?
I've been just continuing work on my bat cave. You can kind of see it down there. I did finish my trophy wall, bat gear wall, so it's all fully structured. Now it's just filling in like the little gadgets and whatnot. I do have some work over here in some other sections, but it's hard to carry the giant base plate in front of my screen. So just take my word for it. It's on Instagram if you want to take a look at that. It's all on there. But yeah, that's pretty much all I've been doing. Just a little bit of building there.
Rick Clicker, what are you building lately?
For me, I've actually been doing the older BrickHeadz, so you know the ones from like Comic Con. I've been buying the pieces for those and then buying custom stickers. So then basically rebuild them that way. So it's a bit of a cheap, but it's better than paying like the crazy amounts which they are for the Comic Con ones though.
So like
Those are so expensive
early
on the
ones,
aftermarket. Like my God.
like Doctor Strange, Black Panther ones, like those early ones, or like the numbered
Yeah,
ones?
and because I'm in the UK as well, it's harder to get them because obviously they were only sold in America originally.
Mhm.
So they're like just crazy money. So you can basically for a price of a normal single brickhead, you can build it with custom stickers, which isn't too bad. Because from a distance, you can't really tell, can you, that it's stickers?
No. You
No,
know,
I
you really
mean,
can't tell.
I agree because we have a friend at our lug, Paul. He's actually going to help me out do custom printing on some Lego pieces so I can build Joffrey, the one from Toys
Oh,
R Us that
yeah.
was canceled before Toys R Us went bankrupt. But now with those, you might be beating me in the BrickHeadz collection now.
Yeah, I was thinking I built now all 279 brickheads. So every single one and all the exclusives as well, technically, with custom stickers.
Sounds like you
So,
got to up your game, Cam.
yep, I
Yeah,
thought I
same.
was
You're
ahead.
slacking behind.
I am because I got the original Comic-Con ones like Spider-Man, Venom, Martian Manhunter, Supergirl, Han Solo, no, yeah, Han Solo Carbonite, and the first um Boba Fett
Boba Fett.
Brickhead. And I'm like, I got the lead on Bricklicker. Now I gotta catch up.
Yeah,
Um,
recently I was thinking just quietly recently I've just been slowly building them together now. Yeah, every single one, which is a lot, like 280 now.
yeah, before we get into discussion on what I'm building, nothing major. Gift with purchase, the Valentine's heart, pretty cool. And then I've got to get these before the movie comes out. JJ, I know you love this one.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Yep.
lastly, the other Captain America 4 brick set I don't have. I'm a little overpriced, it looks like to me, but it's a Red Hulk, so I kind of get it. But I just wanted to collect those before the movie comes out. I mean, I don't know if I'll build it beforehand because last episode I talked about my mountain of backlog. But
Yeah,
that's what
dude, that's a
I.
little. You got to get into kicking some of that and getting it built.
Yeah.
It's bad.
Oh, actually, one more thing. Changed up my podcasting a little bit. Got a new mouse. Got a new
Yeah, that's a
Iron
Nice.
Man
sick Iron
mouse.
Man.
Eyes light
The
up.
eyes light up. I didn't
Yep.
know
That's
that.
really cool.
And then I got a new themed mouse
That's
pad.
cool.
So I
That's
had to
cool.
get that for this. It works. I was going back and forth with my work computer, so I figured had to get the own mouse and mouse pad. But now that we finished what we're building, let's get into it with Lego BrickHeadz and why it seems to be one of the more underrated themes. It doesn't seem to get the love it deserves. So I guess Bricklicker, let's start with you. What drew you to BrickHeadz from the start?
I think it was more just when I was younger. I think the first one I ever got was the Robin one from the Batman movie,
Okay.
which I kind of just picked up, and then you kind of get hooked on them because they're like that collectible aspect, aren't they? Because I think if they didn't have the numbering on them, I don't think not many people would buy them all. It's just that subconscious thing, oh, this is part of a series. I'm
Mhm.
gonna collect everyone, and then before you know it, you've been collecting them for like I think it's 9 years now since the first ones came out, so it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I know we're at like for the numbered BrickHeads, we're at like 259 now once we get the release of Eeyore and Dumbo and the Red Panda May. That'll bring us the numbered ones to 259, but obviously there's other ones as you mentioned, like the Bride and Groom or the Go Brick Me or the I'm gonna mess up the soccer teams. I don't watch soccer much. Was it Manchester
The Man
United?
United one and the Barcelona ones, but then there's
Yes.
also like the more unique store openings ones. So it's like the like
Yep.
go
Yeah.
with the white t-shirt, and then it has that I love the store on it. Then there's also the inside toe one, and then just a blank white one as well. So there's really like niche ones that you don't think of on like the surface level.
Yeah, I remember doing the in-store one of Wonder Woman before the
Yeah.
Justice League one came out. I remember that one took the spot holder for my Joffrey for a long time. But I guess similar to you, I started BrickHeads with like the Marvel ones originally, with like Hulk, Captain America, Black Widow, and Iron Man, and then I grabbed some of the Disney ones like Belle, Beast, Captain Jack Sparrow, and Captain Salazar, and then I grabbed the Batman ones. I'm like, I'm starting to get a lot of these. This could be a theme I could get from start to finish. And then I grabbed the Ninjago ones, which I've never owned a Ninjago set. And then from there, just kind of kept building. And JJ, I know I'm calling you out here. You only have what, two BrickHeads?
One. I have
One.
one.
Only
I have
one.
command. I got Commander Cody.
Okay.
I got Commander Cody when it came out because he's like one of my favorite Star Wars characters. But I remember when the BrickHeads first came out, a lot of initial reaction that I personally saw was people just saying this is just Lego's attempt of ripping off Funko because they want to get into that market. And realistically, I think that was the reason they did them was they wanted to compete with Funko. Like that market is there for those kind of products. And I think Funko's problem is like Lego's done a really good job, I think, so far with them of you're not making like everything. You're doing like one or two characters per property and giving everybody a little bit of a taste. Whereas like Funko will do, with Captain America 4, they'll do like seven characters from that movie, and then each character has like four variants you can find. And it's to the point now where you're just like, what is the deal with this? Like, why are there so many of these? But I think BrickHeads have been successful because they're they're pretty much the same price as a normal Funko Pop now, but they're more fun because you can put them together and you can also customize them, which is cool too.
They're pretty like I mean BrickHeads are obviously like $10 a piece if it's like a two pack, like it's in tens.
Mhm.
Whereas Funko, some I've seen like the lowest I think I'm seeing now is sometimes 12.99 now, actually.
Yeah, they've gone up a little bit. I used to collect them a bunch also, which is
Mm.
part of the reason why I didn't get into the BrickHeads early. I probably would have gotten into them when they first kind of came out, but I was still collecting Funko and Lego at the same time at that point. So I'm like, I don't need to be double dipping into the same kind of area here. But I've since left Funko behind because I just kind of, I don't know, I lost interest with that whole kind of thing. But the BrickHeads, though, there's been some that I've been like, wow, that looks like Commander Cody was the first one in a while where I was like, yeah, I need to get that one. And I think I'm gonna end up getting Dumbo too because I love Dumbo. He's like one of my favorite Disney characters of all time. So I will probably end up getting Dumbo when he comes out.
Suppose you didn't get any of like the Batman ones, like the Batman 8 and 1.
I think the reason I avoided that one is because I want to build all of them.
I'm gonna
I
do
don't
that.
want to have to buy two and then buy a bunch of parts to, I don't know. Maybe I'll do that one day. We'll figure
What
it
if you do?
out, but I could.
I think that's quite one of the good draws of them as well is that you can buy just one or two and they work really well together, or you
Hmm.
can buy like 10 and they still work together. So it's that budget price point, but then they work how many, or that it doesn't really matter how many of them you actually have.
Hmm.
I think
Agreed.
what's really cool is like there's like that base of a build generally, like with the head, like it's always the same piece of there, like the body's generally the same structure, but each one, if you build like 10 or 20 of them in a row, not each one has the same exact build pattern. Like they'll have different structures within the head or within the body. And then if you go deeper into it, some of them have some cool Easter eggs. Like first one comes to mind, Homer Simpson.
His brain.
Oh, well, yes, his brain, it's like a stud, but then his belly comes out for donuts.
Hmm.
Buzz Lightyear has batteries built inside of him, and like Woody has cotton inside of him to represent the stuffing. And I just always liked how generally like there's not Easter eggs, but when they can fit them in, it fits perfectly. It doesn't need to be known, but like building it's like a cool little experience, like a little Easter egg.
And I think looking at like the base structure also with them, what's interesting is, for me at least, is I think the coolest ones are the ones that divert from that main structure or they do something different. Like Blue the Velociraptor, the Basilisk from Harry Potter. Those ones are really cool to me. Yeah, like that one is awesome because it's a brickhead, but the way that they've designed it so it's built like a snake just looks so interesting to me. I think that's where you can get really creative because you still have that core element for the head, but you've done some, yeah, buckbeak too. You're able to do some different things with the structure to make it so that you can get different kinds of animals or creatures or robots or whatever. Like I think that's where the strength of the theme really comes in.
Definitely, I think like there's definitely the base of it, but like you said, there's different ones that match with it. And like there's like the general like the eyes are always generally the same. There's a few different ones. Like one Harry Potter brick hat has like a bigger circle to represent the glasses.
Mhm.
Sonic and has different color eyes.
Feet.
And yeah, the feet. It's just it's crazy to me like looking at all these like even Jack Skellington doesn't have the eyes, which I think he's one of the more rarer ones now, if I'm not mistaken, because he was only
Yeah.
released for like 3 months.
Yeah, in like 20, it was when they were like taking them out of wide release and back into like Lego store exclusives. So like
Mhm.
any of the ones in like kind of row with Jack Skellington, all them ones are pretty rare now because they're only out for like 3 to 6 months really.
And I know there's one piece from Sally, one of like the dark green like wedge plate is worth like $45 because it was only ever in that set, which is just insane to me.
That's crazy. Just for that one like tiny piece.
Yeah, and
It's
I know
little.
that one right
Oh,
there. One of the guys from our lug was building a model of a plane, like a large like B-2 stealth bomber, and he was building it in dark green and needed that piece. And for some weird reason, the mirrored part where it's angled the other way is like a couple cents, and that one's like $45, which is just wild because it was only ever in that and never anything else, which I kind of find hard to believe. But at the same time, it's like shows the part usage. Like the BrickHeads also do a really good job using very small pieces to great effect to create these simple, intricate shapes without a lot of times having to rely on crazy prints. Now, yes, they do print like logos and stuff like that for things, but for generally like, like building up someone's hair or like a helmet piece, they do great job, a really great job of
like
using
examples
maximizing
of what they
potential.
could do with some pieces for hair
Yeah.
structure. Like you got the perfect afro here from a Despicable Me 4 set.
Hmm.
Or no, it was a Minions 2.
Minions too. Minions too. Now, Bricklayer, you could probably address this more also, but whenever we go for like release waves, nobody's ever there for these, which is kind of wild because they're very collectible. But I know, like, Cam and I, we're always there for our releases, like sometimes first in the morning, and he's the only person ever going to get the BrickHeads, ever.
Yeah, I think it's what they've changed BrickHeadz into more recently is where they are only available at Lego stores and Lego Shop at Home. But what they're kind of doing is doing these characters which are very iconic in like single packs. So you've got like Stitch, Dumbo, like
Yes.
Groot. So they're kind of going for that audience who are just going to walk into a Lego store, casually see this, probably not buy much of a Lego. They're like, oh, there's this cool character which I really like. I can buy this, build it, and display it. So I feel like BrickHeadz has turned more into the casual fan now because they don't market the theme, they don't sell them at all retailers. So
Mhm.
it's a very niche theme now. So I feel like they're kind of just impulse buys now rather than a collectible thing as well because they don't do too many which are like more for Air Force. They're all kind of more pop culture, like iconic characters now rather than just random characters, which like Ninjago or Monkey Kid ones.
I remember the one Monkey Kid one. Like, I find myself buying themes I never thought I would buy, and seeing brickheads of themes that, like, it's the only set they have. Like, for a while, Looney Tunes, they had the CMF, but then we got Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote. And I always found it fascinating how Brickhead seemed to get themes that Lego won't do otherwise. Like we had obviously the Back to the Future sets, then we got some Back to the Future Brickheads. You had Ghostbusters, obviously Star Wars. There's different holidays. Like I know Lego likes to do like small sets for like each holiday throughout the year, and then Brickheads kind of took over for a year. So it always fascinated me with BrickHeadz, how there's so many different themes in there and different properties that you never would expect. Like one that I remember not selling well, but still surprising was like the Spice Girls. You never would have thought you'd seen a Spice Girl Lego set, and then there's a $50 BrickHead set with all five of them in there, and it ended up getting discounted. But it just goes to show that they'll do almost any theme that they can. But to speak to both your points with not really marketing it, it's not really popular, it's a cheap enough set where a kid could just bring it to their parents like, I want to build this because it's a character. It's not like an action figure, but it's still a small enough set, and you get a lot out of the set, to be honest. Like you'll get exclusive prints, some cool different colors, and you can put a bunch of them together. And if you're like me, you can try to do your own BrickHeads like I've been trying to do with Disney ones lately. Like I recently done Chip and Dale by taking the Rescue Rangers one and then kind of taking their heads off and then like rearranging it so I could build their bodies. And now these are just some of the start to the CMS I'm trying to do. So like they're very customizable, but they don't fly off the shelves, which always surprises me because once they retire, it always seems like they either double or triple in price. Like the first example I think of is The Little Mermaid with Ursula. That, I don't know how long that was around. It didn't seem long. I don't know if it was similar to Jack and Sally, but I've seen it go for 60, $70 now, which is just insane to me.
Yeah, I think it's because like in 2018, it was the year where they went crazy releasing them, didn't they? So I think so many people got overwhelmed by them. Probably stopped buying them, a lot of people, because there's just too many. So stores had a lot left over. Not many people bought them for like investment. So then when you get to like 2021, the theme's kind of being revived a little bit from 2022. I'd say you've got all these new people buying BrickHeads who want to go back and collect the iconic characters, which are obviously like in short supply now and like really expensive as well.
I think
I
also
started
like
building it, just getting the pieces outside, like they try to get the custom stickers like you've been doing, which I never thought of that. So now I might have to do that
Yeah,
with the
then you get the
original
full
ones.
collection then, quite.
I got to get that full collection now.
I
Yeah.
mean I also think kind of to that point also was that 2018 year what they almost oversaturated how many BrickHeads they released. And I feel like that's why a lot of people kind of I don't want to say look down on them, but like just the BrickHeads, whatever, like kind of ignore them because there was so many. And like Ahsoka came out last year and was Ahsoka last year? Yeah.
I was like, it's even almost three. Oh no, yeah, 3 years ago. Now was it
So
2022?
okay,
I
because
think.
Ahsoka,
Yeah.
yeah. But like Ahsoka came out and she was the one, she was 150, and I went, "There's 150 BrickHeads already!" Like, oh my God, that's insane. And this year we're at 259 of the numbered ones, and I'm just kind of like, I wonder if some of the people that kind of just bypass them are bypassing them because there's just been so many, and people are just like, ah, whatever, like they're here. Like I'm focusing on other things, but whatever, like they're fun. I
Yeah,
enjoy
you're
them.
you're almost like intimidated to go back and collect more when you see on the box there's that many. You think there's no way I can go back and get them. So what's the point of starting now? You're more
Yep.
likely to think, oh, I'll just buy a character here and there, which I really like you were doing, like Commander Cody kind of thing.
hmm I mean, I got Commander Cody. I mean, I love Commander Cody. My girlfriend loves Commander Cody, so he's out on our TV stand. That's great. And like I said, I love Dumbo, so I'll definitely pick up the Dumbo one up. But like, I love Batman, and I love a bunch of like, I didn't get any of the Batman ones. I didn't get any of the DC ones, and I'm a huge DC guy because for me, I was like, I was more interested in getting the actual like the the play sets, like all the UCS level sets, and not the BrickHeads. But looking back now, I'm kind of like, man, maybe I should have picked up a couple of those because they are kind of fun and they would have been little nice to have just around my Lego room. But I feel like that's where it comes down to is people just look at them and go, oh, more BrickHeads. Like I think that's kind of what the general vibe of people who don't already love them are at, which stinks because they're like you're saying, for the non like crazy, for the non Lego fan who just walks into a Lego store for the first time, they're $10. They're not crazy complicated to build. You can pick it up, go home, have a lot of fun, put it on your TV stand, your bookshelf, an end table, put them on something like that. Or for a little kid, can go into a Lego store, buy one, and it's ingenious that they don't fully attach to the stand all the way. They're so easy to come off. They could be just a little thing that a little kid could play with also.
Yeah, and I think if you look at it from like a teenager and adult perspective, there's not really too many sets for them around that price point either.
hmm
So say you do just want a little gift for like an adult or just someone who you not want to buy like a big 18 plus set, they're kind of like that nice middle ground coming at that price point.
I mean, college students too, like a lot of college
Yeah.
students don't have a lot of room in like a dorm room or something like that, or they don't have a lot of money because they're spending it on books and things like that. You might only have a few dollars to go out and spend. Well, if I can go out and spend $10 on a BrickHead and have it on my desk and my dorm, like, yeah, I'm going to do that because I can still engage with my Lego hobby without breaking the bank and getting something I don't have any space for in my area.
Especially for like the non-Lego fans, it's a clever gift because it's not a huge build, so it's not intimidating to the non-Lego fan if you get it as a gift. But like, say JJ, you weren't a fan of Lego, and I knew you
Mhm.
like Dumbo, I could give you the Dumbo set, and like you wouldn't be annoyed by the large set you had to build that takes up a lot of space. You would get a Dumbo gift that you could build real quickly, rather quickly for a
Mhm.
Lego set, and then just display it, and you'll always have it. And then further to your guys' points, I'm looking at brick set. So as by year, 2016 there was four sets, which is the four original Comic-Con ones. And then 2022 had, I mean 2017 had 22, and then we had that huge jump of 2018 having 44. But then after that, 2018 had 17. 2020 had 13, 2021 had 17, 2022 had 17, 2023 had 17, 2024 had 20, and at the moment there's only four that we know of for 2025. So like there was that big jump, which probably, as both your points, made people kind of drop off of BrickHeadz, and Lego probably caught on to that, and then kind of cut it back to more than half. But I feel like they went more into the more out there themes to try and draw different people just for like the average fan or even a non-Lego fan. Because if you walk in, you see a Stranger Things set, there's nothing else Stranger Things in the store. You're gonna buy the Demogorgon and 11 set. You're gonna try and get any of the Harry Potter ones. Like it's Brickhead is one of those few themes that you don't need to be a Lego fan to enjoy it because it's a simple build. It's not that expensive, and you don't need to collect them all for it to make sense. You can just have one Brickhead and you're happy.
Yeah, and I think if you go back to that point about there being like the big jump in 2018 and then down in 2019, I think because of that, we kind of saw the decline of the theme in 2019 and 2020, where they kind of just started doing all the pets, line up the seasonal
Hmm.
ones, where there
Mhm.
wasn't really anything to get too excited about. And I think as we went into 2021, we saw like the big licenses like Toy Story, Stranger Things. So then they
Hmm.
really started giving it some love again. And then I think obviously sales then picked up because of the popular licenses. Then in
Hmm.
like 2023, 2024, like they were really strong lineups for that
Oh
year.
yeah.
Well, and also like in some of those, like, oh, there was only 17 or 20 sets released for that theme. Well, some of them were like one set had five figures in it, one set had
True.
four figure. Like the Spice Girls one had all of them.
They had five of them. There's that Star Wars one that had, I think it was like $55 because I had five regular
Yep,
size brickheads and then I had the Anakin one.
they
So
had the
like
little Anakin one.
there's
So
either
there,
like, oh, I even forgot about those, like the small brickheads. They're
yep.
essentially like $5 a piece. If you see like the Luke Skywalker Yoda one, that was $15. The
Mhm.
Groot and Rocket Raccoon, $15.
And those are fun too because
Hmm.
you get those like smaller characters that work there also. And I love the way the Yoda one looks great. Yeah, the minions are freaky.
Where did I
Um,
put Yoda? Yep.
I do love the way Yoda looks. Yoda looks great. Um,
Oh,
so
because
here,
like he's a good size
yep.
and it works for him perfectly.
Hmm.
And it's a different size build. So like when I'm building the Disney CMF2, when I build Edna Mode, I'll build her this size to kind of go with Frozone and Mr. Incredible size.
Yep. Now, as a non-Brickheads collector, which ones do you guys love the most? And I'll defer our guest first so I can let him kind of talk before we let Cam go into it.
Well, that's a tough one for me. I've always thought about this. There's none where I
Hmm.
can't, because there are so many, I think it's hard to pick like a favorite one. But I
Hmm.
think if I look at like the entire collection, I'd say probably the Toy Story ones are quite good. So like Woody and Buzz Lightyear. I quite like Voldemort as well. And then some of the early ones as well, like the Batman movie ones, because they kind of like kickstarted it. Those are quite good. Then the Sonic ones are nice from last year. Yeah, there's just so many that it's hard to choose like the best one really, because they're all so unique, so many different build types, and they all look really good on display. It's hard to just pinpoint like the best one really for me.
Definitely. I mean, looking at all these, I find myself, obviously I have like some of my favorite characters, but as for Brickheads, I like the more non-traditional ones that have different building styles. Like, for example, the Nutcracker. Just the fact that it has a Nutcracker motion Let me get this here so you can see it. Like that just is so cool to me. And then like Grogu with his pod, with his little egg, the fact that he can come in and out of this, that was cool to me. Buckbeat, um, the panda ones, the fact that this was like this is how it's supposed to be displayed, where it's supposed to be like on its side. Like I just find that anything that's relatively different, like Homer with the donut coming out, or I'm not a big Minecraft guy, but the zombie having the TNT in there. That's not going back. But it's just I honestly there's like my favorite characters like Captain America and Iron Man. But I find myself liking the different ones that either you wouldn't have expected to get a set for, like Stranger Things outside of the huge $200 set of the Upside Down, or like Donald Duck with his hat, or Mickey Minnie with their ears. Chippendale Rescue Rangers. I never would have thought we would have gotten a Rescue Rangers set. It's just it's so cool just to see the different builds. Kevin from Up. I never thought we would have gotten a Kevin BrickHead, and he actually works.
And kind of talking about like you never would have expected this to happen as a Lego theme. I think one of the strengths of the BrickHeads is their ability to take IPs that Lego either you never would have thought they'd do anything with, or we're kind of like, well, what could they do with this? Well, now you can do BrickHeads with like Tom and Jerry this year. Like we haven't seen Tom and Jerry minifigures, but they're two super iconic characters. Them as BrickHeads makes perfect sense. Talking about like the Spice Girls when that one came out, the Spice Girls are huge. Like they have a huge fan base. So finding a way to incorporate them into Lego to make money, perfect. Yeah, make them a BrickHead. People. I know they went on sale pretty quickly. People didn't buy as much of them, but they've had a really good job of getting those IPs that Lego has access to and being able to capitalize more, along with picking up other characters and various IPs that you never would have expected them to ever do, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, and I think it also allows them to like extend the IP as well. So say they're not planning on doing any sets, they can then keep hold of the IP for like a year or two by having the BrickHeads out. Then they can bring more things out from the
Yep.
IP then when they're ready to like for anniversary or to like produce more sets on it.
Like I was so surprised when the Back to the Future ones came out because I was like, they still have the IP, really? Wow, they haven't done anything with it since Dimensions. So I was honestly really surprised when that came around. I'm like, oh, well, I guess they still have Back to the Future and they still have Ghostbusters.
Yeah, exactly. And then like then they made the DeLorean set, so it like bridged that gap
Yep.
between the two products so they could keep it and then it stops competitors from like making sets off it as well.
Aspect of getting BrickHeads of themes that you wouldn't expect, getting BrickHeads of themes that have waves of sets. Like there, I go back to the Avatar sets. A lot of people didn't want to buy all of the Avatar sets, but then there was a $20 set with Jake Sully both as an Avatar, but also in his wheelchair, which was pretty original to me. Like I don't think we're ever going to see another BrickHead character in a wheelchair again, unless there's another movie that I'm blanking on. But it's just cool to see like or Captain America 4 coming out. We got those two BrickHeads coming with the sets. If you didn't want to buy the action figure, JJ, or buy the set that's a little overpriced, you can just buy the BrickHead that is a pretty fair value, honestly. I mean, 10 bucks a piece for a Lego set or 10 bucks within each character, $20 in Lego sense, it's not that expensive and you still get two characters and the fact that like you get Red Hulk, who is pretty similar to the original Hulk back when BrickHeadz first started, you can get a theme that you want without breaking the bank compared to like Avatar, where they had a lot of expensive sets that didn't perform as well. But I'm sure the BrickHeadz did not better, but it was a good, cheaper option.
Yeah, so it just helps people like if you don't want to go all in on a theme, you can just get a little bit of a taste of it and like represent that in your collection with like a BrickHeadz display piece rather than having to buy like a massive display model of like a Marvel set or like the Avatar sets, like you were saying.
Yeah, those Avatar sets did not do well from what I understand. Like they kind of like well, especially the ones based on the second movie, they sat around for a while. Um, so talking more about BrickHeads a little bit, I guess, is what do you guys both want to see from BrickHeads going forward? I mean, I have a couple personal picks, but I want to defer to the experts here to see what you guys would like to see a lot more from BrickHeads.
I'll go first with this, okay?
Absolutely. I'm thinking because they've done a lot already, honestly.
Yeah, so they've already covered like a lot of IPs, but I think two obvious ones which Lego are currently doing right now like in terms of other themes that they have in the portfolio. I'll say the first one will be Transformers because I think
Yes.
you see a lot of like third party Transformers brickheads, so I think they'd be popular. And then second up, I'd say Wicked as well. Obviously, we know a second wave is coming. I'll say probably an Alphabet and Galinda two pack would go down pretty well as well.
I like that. I think, and like for BrickHeadz in general, I would like to see not just like films and TV, but like maybe if they can figure out a way to get the rights to a different artist. Like if you could see a shout out to Holly and Film for her Taylor Swift or Sabrina Carpenter BrickHeadz, just to see different musical icons. Like, could you imagine like a Queen set with Freddie Mercury or Kiss with like Gene Simmons, like all of them as
I
BrickHeadz?
think Kiss is the way you go if you're gonna go for a musical act because they're just
It'd be so
they
original.
work so much better in that format with their
And
iconic looks.
if they could somehow maybe get sports involved, like you could get famous athletes in there mixed in there too, and like maybe seeing how they could do like a football helmet or something. Like it would be really cool to like kind of widen the scope of BrickHeadz. And now that might bite into the budget for the IP that they've been using, like seeing Marvel ones every year or seeing a Ninjago occasionally. It might bite into that, but if they could figure out a way to incorporate like musical acts or sports or stuff outside of film and TV, I feel like it would be a really good route to take because there are people that would buy a Queen set or a Kiss set or a Beatles. And even going older TV shows, like I saw, like Bricklick mentioned, third party, I saw the most random one from Temu, a Golden Girls Brickhead set. It was the most random thing to me, but I'm like, that, I don't know if it would sell well, obviously, but like, it
I
just
think it
shows
would.
that you could do pretty much any character as long as it kind of fits within the Brickhead scope. And I remember when Brickheads was really huge, like back in 2018, there were so many people making their own. Like I saw people make Sonic ones or Scooby-Doo and Shaggy or Mario and Donkey Kong, Bowser. One that really stood out to me, someone was able to make a larger brickhead for the Hulk Buster that could fit an Iron Man brickhead inside of it. Now, I don't know if
Mhm.
like would ever go that route. I feel like that would be a cool alternative to like try and do bigger characters. And someone's gonna probably say in the comments, similar to Funko, you get those small ones that everyone has, but then you get like the slightly larger ones. That could be a route that they could take.
I think
Yeah, I'm surprised they've not done that so far. Doing like a really big one where you can fit like a little one inside of it, especially when Funko do them all the time as well.
I'm surprised they haven't done the Hulkbuster. That's one I'm kind of like, you mentioned that, and I'm like, well, there hasn't been a Hulkbuster. That's a good point. Because that's a very iconic
Hard.
Iron Man
It'd
look
be
that people
very
use a
hard
lot.
to like enlarge it just because like most of the brickhead hands are just those 1x2 with the clip at the end. Like that's every single hand
True.
outside of a very rare few. Like I know like the zombie from Minecraft has no hands and like the Hulk has like his fists out, but like generally it's those types of hands.
Mhm.
So, but it is an option. So I don't know why they haven't gone the big brickhead route, like called like big brickheads or something. Like I don't know. Like you got
The
big figs.
the first thing that came to mind for me when I was thinking about like what IP like what I would want to see next, I think Transformers. I wasn't even thinking of Bricklicker, and now that you say it, I'm like, yes, please give me everybody. Because I feel like that's going to be the only way we ever get Megatron is maybe through that. Um, but how have we not gotten Wicked yet? Like an Alphaba Galinda two pack would have sold like hotcakes. But I feel like the fact they
Was
did
able to
the
promote
two,
that one set with
yeah, those
the
two Boba
dolls.
figures may have gypped that, but they'll get that. Wizard of Oz ones, how you haven't made it a four pack of them,
Ooh,
that would be cool. I was kind of looking more at IPs we've seen them use and like characters that were neglected from that. Like when they did the Looney Tunes CMF and we got Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote, I thought, all right, that's probably it. And then this year we get Tweety Bird again. And the first thing I thought popped in my head was, okay, like let's get a Bugs Bunny and a Daffy Duck brickhead. Like those would be kind of great. Eeyore's coming out this year as a brickhead, like Winnie the Pooh, Tigger, Piglet, like those would be
those on my
cool.
own. Like I want to make those on my own now just to go with Eeyore. And I'm surprised of everyone from the Winnie the Pooh gang, Eeyore's the first one.
I think the Eeyore's that's a pretty cute looking set. I'm not gonna
It
lie.
is, it's very cute. But I'm
Um,
surprised he was first before Pooh and Tigger.
but
Like
like,
Pooh and Tigger would be a good two pack,
oh yeah,
or Pooh,
like
Tigger, Piglet.
Tigger, I would be day one. I'm there. Like I love that character. He's one of my favorites. I would totally be there to get him. Um, I would love to see Sesame Street BrickHeadz. That would be so much
Ooh.
fun. Like I'm trying to think of how they would do Big Bird and how they would do Oscar in his trash can. Those would be
Uh,
really fun designs.
I think Big Bird would be similar to like Kevin from, or not Kevin. Yeah, Kevin from Up.
Hmm.
And then Oscar would probably be very similar to Grogu in his little container, his egg
True.
basket.
True.
Um, are there any like dream brickheads of yours, Bricklicker, that you would like to see, like if you that you haven't
Ooh.
made that you want to try and make on your own, or like you're just hoping that Lego makes it eventually?
No, not really. There's none like that come to mind straight away. I think what they're doing right now is quite diverse. But I think, like we've just been mentioning, there's so many iconic properties which they haven't done yet, which have resound with so many people, like Sesame Street and then all them ones as well. So like, I'd love them to do like a Thomas the Tank Engine one. I know it might be a bit silly for like the design, but it could be pretty cool.
That would be cool. I agree with you. That'd be really fun. I would like to see them try and do like a Lightning McQueen or like a Mater. That'd be kind
Yeah,
of
that'd
fun
be good.
too.
I wonder like how they would like fit it onto the what is it, the 8x8 plate now that they use? Because I remember like the original ones, it was like a 4x6 that they used to stand on. Like it was a very small stand, and like they used to put like numberings or like exclusive or calendar or something on there. And I always thought that it's interesting to see from like the first brickhead to now, like how it's changed. Because like on this shelf, there are ones that have like little plates that go with them, or like the brickheads logo or something. But
So
like,
do we think they got rid of the numbering because people were like, I don't want to have random ones that are out of order and feel like I need to go back and buy the other ones? Or do you think they just dropped them as a as a cost thing? That's an interesting
I
question to pose.
I'd say a mix of both, probably because obviously the cost will be a lot for
mhm,
printed pieces. And also that was in 2017. So if you think about going into 2018, when they was producing so many, that's like a lot more printed pieces. Plus, I think when they were doing like the Comic Con ones in the numbering as well, I think it's like Spider-Man and Venom. If you've got those, like it's going to be a gap in like 99% of people's collections. So I feel like it did annoy people that there's gaps more than like the benefit that it bring.
And Jeffrey the Giraffe, he was numbered also. He was a regional exclusive, wasn't he?
Yeah, well, it
like
just never
Toys
ended
R
up
Us.
releasing because like they went bankrupt.
Oh, good
Mhm.
point. They went bankrupt. That's right.
I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't buy like the original Comic-Con ones because they weren't part of the numbering. I was making my display for my brickheads, and I'm like, and it's during COVID. And like I'm going through like those are a lot of big clothes. So like I grabbed the three Comic Con ones that had the numbers. I didn't want to get the first ones because they weren't numbers. So I figured, okay, that's not too bad. So I got the three, and I'm glad that like they stuck with the numbering on the box. So like for those that do want to collect them, like me or Brick Clicker, but I feel like it put turned people off on the idea of trying to get more than one because then you're gonna some don't want to be completionists, but then now with BrickHeadz, like we were talking about earlier, those non Lego fans or those average Lego fans, they won't feel weird about having a numbered set without completing it. They could just get their it's more there is still that numbering for those completionists, but then someone could just get a random set like you getting Cody, JJ, you don't feel compelled to buy more because of a numbering. You would have felt more compelled to buy more if you liked more characters. That can stand on its own, or it can be part of a bigger collection.
I think the three, if I had to pick three that I would like dream, like really want, two of them are like 100%. I could see them doing them. One of them never gonna happen. Um, Nightwing, because he's like one of the only characters from the Bat family they haven't done, because they did Batman, Robin, Batgirl for
Yep.
Lego Batman movie. I would love to see them do Green Lantern because he's one of the
Okay.
only, he's like the only Justice League member they haven't done yet from the core seven. And me personally, I would love to see Spawn, but they're never going to do Spawn because he's way too violent, so never going to happen. But I would love to see a Spawn at some point. I bet someone's probably built one, but
Probably.
I would love to see that.
Hmm. I would like to see Rex because they've done Cody. I don't see why
They'll
they
do
haven't done Rex
Rex.
yet.
He's coming at some point. They'll
You
probably have
better.
some anniversary of Clone Wars pack at some point that'll have a bunch of characters in it.
So
Fingers
now,
crossed.
random
Yes.
question for you, Brick Clicker. With your collecting of all of the brickheads, when you grabbed the Lego Movie 2 ones, did you get those through Target or did you end up getting them after the fact, like I did similarly with COVID and eBay? great combination, but also worst enemy at the same time. I grabbed them after the fact because I wanted to get all the number. Did you get those before or after? Because it was like a red target or target red circle card exclusive or something.
Yeah, so for me, I don't think I got them till 2023, I think. But then I had to buy them through like someone on eBay selling them who would obviously like imported them into the country. And then
Hmm.
you buy them that way. So they were pretty expensive, but I think that's the only way you can really do it because outside of the US, the supply is pretty much non-existent. So you have to get lucky of someone having all four of them at like once at like a decent price.
I think there's like any other random BrickHead sets outside like those Target exclusive or Target Circle exclusive ones or the Comic-Con ones. Are those the only
Uh,
exclusive ones that you can remember? I don't think so looking at these.
Yeah, I think there was the one from Star Wars Celebration, which was Boba Fett and the Carbonite. Then there was the four original ones from Comic Con, which don't have the number in. Then there was like the Spider-Man and Venom, and
Mm-hmm.
then it was like the green guy and the girl superhero. I can't remember the names.
Martian Manhunter. Yep.
Yep, and
Yeah, that
Supergirl.
one. I think they're the only ones, and obviously the Toys R Us one as well, which you can piece together with the sticker sheet of the original Toys R Us set, I think. So you can, if you like cut the stickers up, I think you can technically do it that way.
There
I
was
know.
also the Batman and Joker and Wonder Woman Superman ones, wasn't there?
Yeah, those were like the four original Comic-Con ones. It was
Yeah.
Batman, Joker, Superman, Wonder Woman, Black Panther, Doctor Strange, Iron Man, and Captain America.
Didn't those predate the theme itself? Like they came
Hmm.
out before the theme was actually out as like a hey, this is what we're doing these now.
Yep, they were at Comic-Con.
Okay.
I mean, I also remember like Buckbeak and Hagrid were a gift with purchase. There was the
The Fortnite bomber.
yep, Fortnite bomber. There was also like the Ninjago 3-pack with like a Golden Lloyd and a dragon, which was one of the more original BrickHeads in my opinion, just because of how it was put together with like the giant wings that really messed up my display down here trying to fit them all close together. I don't know if there's any other like exclusive or random ways to get them outside like the studio tour ones that weren't as mainstream, obviously, which I've completely forgot about those and now I'm gonna have to try and get it now. Thanks for that, Brick Clicker.
Yeah, I think the current number of if you add them all together is 279 right now, and I think that's including the ones in February as well. So right
Wow.
now, I guess released is about 276. If you add every single one, all the exclusives, all the Comic Con, all the store opening ones, it's around about that number.
So I
I will
think
say,
one good question to end on here a little bit and start tying things up is when you talk about brickheads to someone, how would you go about pitching brickheads as a theme to someone who may have either overlooked them or never paid attention to them in the past?
Ooh, I say a budget friendly collectible, which will probably have you a favorite IP of something in Lego form,
Mhm.
something like that. So because they do so many IPs, they are cheap, so it's an easy to get into theme, and there's probably going to be a character on shelves which you like, which you love, and you want to have on display.
That's the perfect way to put it.
I mean, jumping on that, that's a good way. It's budget friendly, but I think going back to the original question of why it's underrated, almost every single set, I think, outside of like a very few, has an exclusive print in one shape or another, whether it's like the front piece representing like a part of the suit or something, or donuts or the batteries for Buzz. Like there's an exclusive print outside like I should rephrase. Any of the IP related ones have an exclusive print. If you look at like the holiday ones, like the Scarecrow or the Ghost, there's nothing exclusive there, obviously. So like any IP that you might want to collect, there is an exclusive print, which I think not many sets can get. Or there are many torsos that are reused. There are many face prints that are reused, different legs that are reused. With BrickHeads, you're only going to see that print in it once. Now it might not be as useful in other builds outside of the BrickHeads. But if you're looking for a cheap set, getting a lot of quality and bang for your buck, BrickHeads I feel like is the way to go.
Yeah, I think that's a
And
pretty good way to put it. Sums it all well, and like that, looking at it from loads of different ways.
I would say so, 100%. I think that's a perfect way for us to kind of wrap this episode up here. So, Brick Clicker, before we go, if you'd like to pitch yourself and plug where everybody can find you, that would be great.
Yeah, so my main thing is on YouTube where I do like news recap videos of all the latest things which are coming out. Then on Instagram, sometimes I do share my BrickHeadz collection if you are interested. And also just like the latest sets on there really. So mainly just news and like upcoming things, which are always definitely exciting.
And all of those links will be in the description so you can find him there if you have not already. You can find us on Instagram also at Brick Hour Pod. You can find me on Instagram at Brick Hour Pod. And if you've not already, subscribe to the YouTube channel and hit the notification bell so you're notified when all new episodes go live. Fridays at 2 o'clock, or will be when they always come out. And then don't forget the most recent episode we had before this one was, oh no, sorry, I'm thinking of the time capsule we just had. Zoning out for a second. We had the Brick Hour time capsule. The first one was last week. If you have not already, check that one out. Really fun. We're gonna be doing those once a month, third Tuesday of every month if you're just finding us. But with that all said, thank you for tuning in. We will see you all in the next episode. Happy building.
Bye.